his comrades from Oklahoma City. Quinn Cooney again with that first place finish, 143.4, followed by Jack Fruworth, Oklahoma City University entry, 147.7, followed by Dominic Pardini, representing Los Angeles, with a time of 150.3. Wallace Tucker, Colorado State, 154.3. Mason Phillips, Kansas State Rowing Association, 2:0.2, followed finally by Alexander Petmecki with a time of 2:0.8, representing Southern Methodist University.
Getting lined up right now on the 500-meter line is the women's youth four-person with Mile High in lane 1, Episcopal School of Dallas in lane 2, Founders B team in lane 3, Dallas lane 4, Austin lane 5, and Tulsa Youth in lane 6. That's the women's youth four-person 500 petite final.
So again, one of the lower finals for the crews that raced earlier today in the head racing. Coming up, the women's youth quad. Seeing some Colorado representation as well as Texas and Oklahoma.
What are the ages of these youth rowers, Luke?
Yeah, so the youth rowers are going to be anywhere, more than likely, 8th grade up to their senior year of high school. So 13 years old up to 18. Some athletes, maybe if you're in middle school, maybe 8th grade, it's probably not when you're going to start racing in a varsity level event, which the women's youth quad is. So I would expect athletes to be sophomore, juniors, seniors in high school, maybe some strong, ambitious freshmen out there. You never know.
So they're just a couple of years away from collegiate rowing.
Absolutely. Some of these athletes might be racing under the lights for the first time, and some might be racing under the lights for their first time if they're choosing not to row collegiately. We certainly hope that they do, and certainly seen some great collegiate racing tonight. So,
and maybe try to get noticed by some Alabama, Wichita States, and some other schools.
Absolutely. You have to believe that the coaches are out here recruiting every single regatta. And again, seeing the level of talent that we've seen tonight, it's definitely a true story.
We're moments away from starting. They're in position.
So crew sitting ready. Looks like we're going to have a start here momentarily. Maybe a few taps from the crew in lane 2.
And they're off.
And it does look like we have a clean start out of the gate.
Once again, it's Mile High in 1, Episcopal School in 2, Founders B in 3, Dallas in 4, Austin in 5, and Tulsa Youth in lane 6.
Really happy to see the conditions just about as good as they can be. Maybe a little bit of a south breeze, but otherwise a great night for racing. Certainly makes keeping these boats, the quads, they're without a coxswain, so the bow seat or the stroke seat, if they have tow steering, they're steering these boats, keeping them in their lane.
Founders B looks like they have a bit of a lead, followed by Episcopal School and Mile High in lane 1. Dallas in lane 4, and then Austin lane 5. But Tulsa Youth in lane 6 is keeping pace with some of the other boats. But right now it's rows 1, 2, and 3 with row 3, Founders B, edging out Episcopal School for first place. But it's going to come down to another sprint.
Yeah, and, looking at this crew in lane 3, I'm seeing a little bit of a lower stroke rate. They're going to start their sprint pretty soon, so I think we're going to see a little bit more speed out of that crew in lane 3 as they come towards the finish line.
And down the stretch they come.
And lane 2 started their sprint.
They've started their sprint. You're exactly right.
And lane 3 is going to be hitting those buoys. They've got to make a little bit of a course correction just to make sure they stay in their lane, but it does look like they've done that. Sitting up nice and tall. Really nice control from that boat in lane 3.
And down here in lane 6, can Tulsa Youth edge out lane 1 for third place. But in lane 3, it's Founders B in first, Episcopal School in second. And it looks like Tulsa Youth won third, edging out Mile high. That's the way I saw it. Well, let's check those unofficial results.
Yeah, good to see here, and it looks like it was Founders B took first place with a time of 146.3. That was the lane 3 entry, followed by Episcopal School of Dallas with a time of 149.6. Tulsa Youth third place, 151.3. Mile High fourth place, 156.2. Austin fifth place, 201.4.
Stand by next for the women's 4x4 person 500-meter grand final. Founders will be in lane 1. Redwood Scullers in lane 2. Hockaday, lane 3. Redwood Scullers B team in lane 4. Hockaday B in lane 5. And Waterford in lane 6. I imagine we've got some crews out there that are pretty familiar with each other.
Absolutely. Expecting a great race here in the women's youth quad. It's the grand final. Physiologically thinking about these athletes as they've been on the course probably more than once today, racing at least 4,000 meters, not including their warm-up or cool-down. More than likely, it's probably maybe 2 or 3 times down the course, depending on what they've got going on today. And now they're going to come out here. They've tested their aerobic threshold in the 4,000-meter head race this morning and afternoon. Now they're going to test their anaerobic threshold, get right up to that anaerobic threshold in the first 5 strokes of the piece, and just sit there until they cross the finish line. So a little bit of burn in the legs, a little bit of lactic acid buildup.
They're young. Riversport would like to recognize American Fidelity for their ongoing partnership and support of the Youth Rowing League here at Riversport all year long. And Riversport wants to also thank Mercy Hospital for their partnership in our Youth Rowing League and a community sponsor of our Corporate Rowing League. And they're off. The grand final has started.
Really solid start from the crew in lane 1, the Founders crew. Sitting up nice and tall, good blade connection. And again, we're getting right to that lactic acid threshold, right to that burn in the legs, and they're just going to sit there for the next minute and a half, 2 minutes as they come down the course.
I anticipate this being a very competitive race all the way down to the last 35 meters.
Absolutely, and we do see some steering issues going on in lane 4. I do see the official's flag go up there briefly, and it does look like they're pointed into the lane 5 there, so they're going to need to make that correction as they come down. It looks like they've done that.
About halfway through the race, it looks like Founders is in lane 1, and they've got the bit of a lead over the Redwood Scullers and Hockaday.
And again, we see that official's flag going up, making some corrections in terms of the course for that lane 4 entry. Does look like lane 1 has a nice lead over the other crews. Looks like lane 3 might have some
steering issues as well, right?
So we're trying to just keep those bows pointed down the course as much as possible.
But down here in lane 5, Hockaday B is not going to be trifled with. And in lane 6, don't forget Waterford down here. But in lane 1, Founders looks to be separating themselves from the field.
Absolutely.
With a full boat length.
Founders all day for this race. Founders from stroke 1 all the way to the end.
Redwood Scullers is in position for second place, followed by Hockaday.
Hockaday could make a move here. They need to do it. Doesn't look like it.
Good luck. We have a race for third place. Did Hockaday B overcome Hockaday for third place? Let's check those unofficial results. Let's check the replay and see what we can see.
It does look like that Hockaday B entry overcame the Hockaday A entry there, time of 146.9 versus 147.5. So less than a second separating the two crews from the same program. Great squad depth there. Love to see that. And it does look like Founders took the first place finish there with a time of 142.9, followed by Redwood Scullers, 145.3. Again, the Hockaday B entry in third place, 146.9. Hockaday A entry, 147.5. Waterford, 148.8. And then in sixth place, rounding out the crews, Redwood Scullers B with a time of 149.0.
Next up on the docket, the women's open two-person 500-meter grand final. We've got Payne and Bars in lane 1, Kahuna and Bote in lane 2, Hodnet and Bagley in lane 3, Saunders and Lysenko in lane 4, Oni and Hill in lane 5. They're from Oklahoma City. And also from Oklahoma City, McGill and Muse. We have Wisconsin, Minnesota, Great Lakes, Great Salt Lake, Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City rounding out the field.
We've seen a strong performance from the Badgers here pretty much all night tonight, so I'll be curious to see if the women's open double remains the same for that University of Wisconsin entry. That's going to be in lane 1 on the South Shore, furthest from the stands, furthest from the boathouses. We'll see if that strong performance can continue in the sculling event here in the double.
They have dominated so far here at the 2023 Regatta. Just want to give you a quick reminder on Paddle Mania tomorrow. If you're still around tomorrow afternoon, Paddle Mania, a new event here at Riversport. It's going to be something very special, and we had like to have everybody come out and take a look at what we've cooked up. Once again, another reminder that medals can be picked up on the first floor of Chesapeake Finish Line Tower, and trophies will be presented on the Chesapeake Finish Line Tower Awards Dock. Winners will be awarded at the competition of each corresponding OG&E Night Sprints event. The Norick, Ackerman, and Schnittman Cups will be presented at the conclusion of racing on Saturday evening. That's tonight. And at the awards podium on the Chesapeake Finish Line Tower Awards Dock.
So we're starting to see the crews approach the starting line, taking a few small strokes just to get up to the approach. So they've definitely been called up to the starting line. We're going to see alignment right after that, and then the crews will get set, sitting ready, attention, row. Right now, they're getting ready at the starting line for alignment.
Once again, the University of Wisconsin team in lane 1, the team to beat.
Yeah, I think so. I think based on the performance that we saw in the sweep boats, it really seems to me that they have a strong, composed program. They've performed well. They're sitting ready. It looks like we're going to have a start here soon.
But with 2 Oklahoma City teams in this event, and both of their boats closest to the boathouses, do you think the fans might have an influence on some of this race?
Well, they certainly have an opportunity to, so we'll see as we have a start here in the Women's Open Double Grand Final.
As they come down the first few hundred meters or so, Cano in lane 2 looks to have a small lead, but Payne and Bars aren't too far behind. It's lanes 1, 2, and 3.
And it does look like that lane 1 entry, the University of Wisconsin, has a bit of a lead over the lane 2 entry. Seeing these athletes kind of come into their steady. It's hard to say that there's a steady state or a steady zone for this kind of race. 500 meters is pretty quick. They're already at the 250-meter mark, so got to make a decision here in the next 10, 15 strokes. They're going to take it up and do that sprint. And it does look like the University of Wisconsin entry over there on the South Shore has a solid lead over the second place in lane 2.
In lane 3, it's Hodnett and Bagley. And then lane 4, 5, and 6 all coming up behind them. But right now it's UW in lane 1 that's opening up which open water lead.
And I'm clocking them at a 39 strokes per minute, so they've taken it up to their sprint pace. They have an open water lead, but they're going to leave it out all on the course here. Go ahead and finish out that sprint.
Cano and Bote looks to have second place wrapped up, and Hodnett and Bagley are going to be finishing in third. Bit of a race for fourth place down here in lanes 4 and 5. And the team from lane 5, Oni and Hill from Oklahoma City, could edge them out for fourth place. Let's check it out. I think they got them. What did the times look like?
Yeah, so again, another strong performance from the University of Wisconsin, coming in at 149.7, taking first place, followed by Minneapolis with a time of 155.5, Minnesota with a time of 201.1, Oklahoma City University 209.7. Looks like Great Salt Lake entry with 5th place, 210.8. And then finally another Oklahoma City University entry in 6th place with a time of 222.3.
Coming up next on the racing docket is the men's collegiate four-person with Oklahoma City in lane 1, Wichita State in lane 2, Colorado State in lane 3, Oklahoma City B in lane 4, Wichita State B in lane 5, and Colorado State B in lane 6. And just a quick reminder, we have a fireworks display following the final race here tonight, which will be the Women's Open Collegiate 8-man Grand Final. So stick around for some special fireworks here on a Saturday night in OKC. And out on the 500-meter start line, they're lining up for the grand final of the men's collegiate four-person. Two teams from Oklahoma City, Wichita State, Colorado State. Two teams from Wichita State and Colorado.
I'm wondering if there are more Stars fan or Shockers fans down underneath the finish line tower tonight. Certainly.
We'll know in a few minutes.
Certainly will. And it does look like the crews are getting aligned at the starting position. Seeing the crew in lane 1 sitting ready, crew in lane 2 sitting ready, so we should have a start here shortly.
Do you think they're glad that a Wisconsin team's not involved?
You know, I think they might be after that finish.
And they're off.
Seeing a strong start from the lane 1, the Oklahoma City University crew, a little bit of splash in lane 2 on that starting sequence. The Wichita State entry certainly led the Oklahoma City entry get off to a nice clean start, nice clean lead it looks like. Looks like lane 3 might be competing with them.
Right now I would say that the team in lane 3, Colorado State, is giving the other two teams from Wichita State and Oklahoma City everything they've got. Wichita State B and Colorado State finishing out the field. Oklahoma City in lane 1 is opening up a bit of a lead, but in lane 3, it's Colorado State. No, excuse me, lane 4. Lane 4, Oklahoma City B. Are we going to have an Oklahoma City 1 and 2? In this race?
We'll see. It does look like the crew in lane 1 is up pretty high. I was clocking them out at 40. That seems a little high, but maybe if they can sustain it, that works for them. If they can take it up even higher in the last 150 meters or so, and it does look like they're sitting up a little bit. Like to see that connection, that timing increase. Really well synced up in lane 1. And we'll see if we have the Stars go 1-2. They're going to have to make a move. I think the Shockers have a little bit of a lead on them in lane 2.
But here's the sprint. Here's the sprint by OKCB.
Gonna have to take it up. Gonna have to take it up right now if they want to take the lead. And it looks like they did. And that'll be the Stars 1-2.
Stars 1 and 2. Wichita State 3. And coming up in 4th, it's like Wichita State. Oh, correction. Down here in lane 5, Wichita State B and Colorado State. And finishing out in lane 3 is Colorado State. What were the unofficial times?
So it looks like the times are still coming in here. Oklahoma City A entry with a time of 136.7. Oklahoma City University B entry 142.2. Wichita State 145.0 in third place. Texas Christian University in fourth place with a time of 148.0. Wichita State B with a time of 153.3. And finally, in the sixth place, the lane 3 entry, Colorado State, time of 212.3.
Going to be some partying over on 23rd Street tonight, right?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the great things about the Stars. They know how to party, right?
Absolutely. Men's youth 8-person 500 meter coming up next with Austin in lane 2, Austin B in lane 3, Mile High in lane 4. This is the petite final, once again for the men's youth 8-person.
So right now we see the officials' launches headed back up to the start. 5-minute centers on these races. It's quick racing. The officials are zipping up and down the race course, and they were able to make up for a little bit of a delay. So some really nice officiating tonight.
Sounds like OKC teams who are just coming by us, and if here in the finish line tower, we're getting some appreciation from some local fans.
I think we have our answer as to whether there are more stars in the fans tonight.
That party just got bigger on 23rd Street. We'll be starting the men's youth 8-person 500 meter in just a few moments. We are standing by for the men's youth 8-person 500 meter, the petite final. And that will be followed by the men's youth 8-person grand final. We have approximately 3 more races left after this next one, and then we will have a spectacular fireworks display. Out at the 500-meter start line, they're starting to line up. Austin will be in lane 2, Austin B in lane 3, and Mile High in lane 4. And this is the petite final for the youth 8-person.
So it does look like we have all three crews approaching the starting line. Still got a couple of minutes here before the official race time, but if the crews are aligned, they might kick it off just a moment or two early as they are approaching the starting line. And I do see the crew in lane 2 holding water, sitting ready at the catch. Looks like we might have a race underway shortly.
And they're off. Very strong start for Austin.
Very aggressive there. You can see a little bit of splashback from the crew there as they get underway in their starting 5. Just want to make sure that those blades get nice and feathered as they're coming out of the catch. It looks like they've settled now into their race pace.
But yes, Austin has opened up a bit of a lead. Austin B and Mile High are stroke for stroke, with Mile High maybe having a bit of an edge over Austin B right now.
Definitely going to come down to the second place here. It looks like the crew, that Austin A entry in lane 2 has a solid lead over their teammates in the Austin B entry. It's really going to come down to second place. Who wants it more in the third or the fourth lane?
Mile High right now looks to me in second.
Yeah, we'll see if that lead develops at all. Looks like they have a couple of seats over lane 3, the Austin B entry, and it does look like they're taking a little bit more of a lead. It does look like that lead is lengthening.
I think we've got some Austin fans here. Look at Austin's stroke. That's just magnificent work, isn't it?
Looks solid as they come across the just about 10 or 15 strokes to go here, last 100 meters or so.
Does Austin B have a sprint in him, or is Mile High going to hold him off?
I think Mile High's got it here. Looks like they have a little bit of a sprint in them.
Congratulations, Austin. Mile High and Austin B, the finishers in the petite final.
So it was Austin with a time of 136.3, followed by Mile High with a time of 141.2, and then Austin B rounding out the 3 boats in the men's youth 8 petite final with a time of 145.9.
They're getting lined up right now for the 8-person 500-meter grand final with Dallas United in lane 1, White Rock lane 2, OKC Riversport lane 3, White Rock in lane 4, Jesuit College in lane 5, and Dallas United B in lane 6. So we've got Riversport in there taking on the likes from Dallas and Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this race all night. Men's Youth 8 Grand Final promises to be a tight race. Should be very exciting. Again, for some of these athletes, this might be their last 500-meter race under the lights. Looks like they're sitting ready, getting ready for the start of the Men's Youth 8 Grand Final. A lot of Dallas crews and Oklahoma City River Sport as well.
And they're off.
Seeing some solid starts here, not a lot of splashback in lane 1. Crews sitting up nice and tall, getting through those starting strokes.
Right now it looks like lane 6 and lane 5, Dallas United B and Jesuit College, are holding their own. Lane 4, White Rock, making some hanging tough.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what we want to see in the Men's Youth 8. Nice, tight spacing across crews. Does look like there are some crews that are starting to maybe make a little bit of a move, maybe start to take that lead.
White Rock in lane 2. Looks like they're stroke for stroke with Dallas United in lane 1.
Yeah,
OKC is still hanging in there tough with lane 3. But down here in lane 4, it's White Rock and Jesuit College. And don't forget Dallas United B down here in lane 6.
Lanes 1 and 2 are the crews to watch, and it looks like 2 wants it. Lane 2 wants it. That's White Rock. They're fighting that Dallas United crew.
Down the stretch
they're taking
they come.
seats. They're taking seats. It's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight if that crew in lane 2, White Rock, keeps taking seats. It's going to be real tight.
This is going to be another photo finish. I think White Rock may have got them.
It looks like White Rock to me.
And it looks like White Rock also held off OKC Riversport for third place. Another incredible race. Can't wait to see these results.
So again, we had that close, really came down to the last 5-10 strokes, and White Rock took it up in lane 2, and they came away with the victory there in the end. Only a few tenths of a second separating that White Rock crew from Dallas United, but they came out in a time of 126.3. Dallas United, second place, time of 126.7. Like I said, just a couple tenths of a second separating the first and second place crews there. White Rock, we'll say White Rock B, lane 3. They were lane 4. They came in third place, time of 128.7. And then fourth place, Oklahoma City River Sport, time of 129.5. Fifth place, Dallas United B, time of 130.3. And finally, rounding out the 6 crews, Dallas Jesuit with a time of 130.8.
Another incredible race, and OKC Riversport making a really good showing against these Dallas teams, just losing out on third place. The women's collegiate 8-person petite final coming up next. This race will feature Alabama B in lane 1, Oklahoma B in lane 2, Wichita State in lane 3, Colorado lane 4, Colorado State lane 5, and OKC in lane 6. Two more races left, and then the spectacular fireworks display ending tonight's festivities. Another great day of racing tomorrow, followed by Paddle Mania over at the Whitewater Center. The women's collegiate 8 petite final. The boats are approaching the start line, and we'll be having some racing here in just a few moments. Crews are lining up right now for the petite final of the Women's Open Collegiate 8-person. Once again, Alabama, Oklahoma B, Wichita State, Colorado, Colorado State, and OCU top to bottom. They're in the final stages of positioning.
I think lanes 1 and 2 are going to be the crews to watch again here. That's the Alabama B entry on the South Shore, lane 1. The Oklahoma B, OU B entry in the second lane. That's one lane off of the South Shore. I think we're going to see some great racing out of these collegiate athletes.
Standing by for the start of the women's petite final.
And it does look like one of the crews had to take a few strokes here, and they're going to have to back their boat back up into the starting line position. It's a little bit easier sometimes to do that than just try to make the small corrections. And you can kind of tell the further away from that South Shore the crew is, a little bit more interference with their bow. They're having a little bit more trouble keeping it straight.
They're poised and ready.
Looks like lane 1 sitting ready, lane 2 sitting ready. Lane 3 is making a little bit of an adjustment here. Again, the aligners just trying to get bows nice and aligned, nice and even.
And they're off.
Nice connection in lane 1 with the women of Alabama. Some really strong power coming from those strokes. Don't see any splashback whatsoever. Really, really nice connection on the starting 5 there.
From top to bottom, they're all evenly matched at the very beginning of the race. Pay close attention to OCU down here in lane 6. They might need some help from some fans here on the shoreline, because right now they're holding their own against Alabama and Oklahoma B and Wichita State, lanes 1, 2, and 3.
So it looks like some pretty tight spacing in lanes 1 and 2. Again, that's the University of Alabama's B entry as well as the OU entry. That's going to be their B entry. More of the OU-Alabama rivalry, it seems.
Wichita State in lane 3 is battling it out with lane 4. But right now, OCU down here in the bottom lane, lane 6, looks like they're in 3rd right now. But the race is at the top.
It's
in
anybody's
lanes 1
race.
and 2. That's
it's
right.
Anybody's race in the last 15 strokes here, 10 to 15, maybe a few more as these crews come in.
Down the stretch they come.
OU looks a little longer. If they have a little bit, and they're taking it up right here, we'll see if Alabama can hold them off. They're fighting off that OU sprint. Looks like OU has a bow ball.
Here it comes. As they cross the finish line, it's OU.
It's going to be the Sooners.
Yep, then Alabama. And down here at the bottom, it looks like OCU finished 3rd.
So it was the crew from the University of Oklahoma, the B entry, in a time of 137.4 in first place, followed by Alabama B, a time of 138.4. Oklahoma City University finishing third place, 145.4. Colorado, fourth place with a time of 150.2, followed by Wichita State, fifth place, 150.7, only 0.5 of a second separating that fourth and fifth place positioning. More tight racing tonight.
Absolutely. They're getting lined up right now for the last race of the night, the Women's Open Collegiate 8-person with the University of Wisconsin in lane 1, Clemson in lane 2, Alabama in lane 3, Oklahoma in lane 4, University of Wisconsin in lane 5, and Clemson in lane 6, and they're on the river racing.
And here we go, the final race of the day, Women's Open Collegiate 8. What a great race this is going to be. Tight spacing across all crews as they get out of the start here, approaching the 250-meter mark.
I would say that Clemson and Alabama right now are 1 and 2. Oklahoma in lane 4 is keeping pace with Alabama in lane 3. And down at the bottom, Clemson and University of Wisconsin.
I think we're starting to see lanes 1 and 2 at the 250-meter mark make a little bit of a move here. It seems that they have a little bit of a lead. It's going to be a fight for first place between those two crews, unless the crew in lane 3. They've still got connection in that crew in lane 2.
Is Alabama and Oklahoma maybe battling it out for third place? But right now, Clemson has just a bit of an edge over Wisconsin, but it all comes down to the sprint.
That's going to be between Wisconsin and Clemson, University of Wisconsin and Clemson.
Clemson right now has a bit of an edge, but don't discount that sprint. And in third place, it looks like Alabama is going to edge out Oklahoma. And as they cross the finish line,
Wisconsin needs to stay with it.
It's Clemson. And did Alabama edge out Wisconsin?
Alabama could have taken that there. It'll be interesting to see in the results here. That was a tight race for second place.
This has been some of the most exciting, close races I can remember in a long time.
0.1 of a second separating crews from being first and being fourth. Amazing racing for all crews.
Absolutely.
And it was Clemson that took first place in the Women's Open Collegiate 8 Grand Final, time of 133.2. Alabama right behind Clemson, 135.1 in second place. And less than, 0.1 of a second separating second and third place. It went Alabama in second, University of Wisconsin in third with a time of 135.2. Again, great racing for both those crews. Only 0.1 of a second separating second and third place. Fourth place, University of Oklahoma with a time of 138.0. Clemson's B entry in fifth place with a time of 139.5. And finally in sixth place, the University of Wisconsin, time of 141.3, finishing out the racing for this wonderful evening of night sprint racing on the Oklahoma River.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Luke. A great night here at the 2023 Regatta. We'll have some spectacular fireworks just as soon as we get some boats off the river. If you'll be patient with us and stand by for some fireworks. While we're waiting for the fireworks, if you'll turn your attention to the front of the finish line tower, we've got Seth tossing out some special treats for anybody that can catch one. Fire away, Seth. You got to look up. Look up to the front of the finish line tower. Just toss one out and hit somebody. They'll pay attention. I'm not sure who's having more fun here, Seth or the people catching the shirts. Pretty sure it's Seth. And now that the T-shirts are out, stand by for fireworks. Good night.